We'll do like 2 hours of this and then go to Inferno, go to TOB, I guess. Start assembling a team. I'll go into YouTube mode. Right. Welcome to FCF 7, I think this is. And we are rocking the Virtus top, which is now cheaper and slightly better than Ancestral for Inferno. So if you have one or you can't afford Ancestral, consider this because it's good. The ancient stuff like the Ice Sceptre and the Blood Sceptre are also good alongside Kodai. But with the Ice Sceptre, sorry, with the Blood Sceptre, you need to not overheal too much. Maybe only post 50 or for difficult waves. Ice Sceptre is fine, but it's about the same as Kodai, really. Rest of the gear remains the same. You can always downgrade to Barrows gloves. You can always take. You can even drop the occult if you want. If you don't have it as an iron, you can take Devout Boots if you don't have Devouts. Max Cape and Ring of Suffering is good. Otherwise, try and keep these two on for the 24 prayer bonus, which is really silly. It's used to be 20. Well, I guess it's 25 with Crystal, but Virtus is like even better than Ancestral with prayer bonus. So overall, very good. This series has a focus on practical solutions to Inferno. And if you end up using this, I suggest using a proper guide alongside it. So typically the best one would be Exact's guide. Use his or maybe the text guide in We Do Raids if you have pillar stacks in particular, and they will tell you the solutions for pillar stacks. If you're watching this, this will tell you not how to solve pillar stacks, but how to do everything else very well. Thoughts on Blood Sceptre to overheal 109? It's only good at certain waves. If you're overhealing like all the time with Blood Sceptre, then you're wasting your time because you don't need 109 to survive easy waves. As far as plugins, Low Detail is for the ground, and Entity Hider is the plugin to make the NPCs disappear, which is a very useful one. For all these early waves, we're going to breeze through them, but I will explain how blobs work. We always start with one barrage and then switch into our proper gear. And you're going to clean up anything with a blowpipe. For things like bats, just go and attack them. It's just a bat. Most bats, if they're causing you problems, just kill them. And with our prayer bonus, with our Crystal Armor, Devout Boots, and Ring of the Gods, we have essentially infinite prayer bonus. So we don't have to worry about flicking prayers at all. You can't burn Rigor permanently, but you can flick Rigor like this. Or you can use your quick prayers as such. And this works fine as well. So if you can flick like this and you can conserve prayer, fantastic. If not, then just camp one major prayer and flick a little bit of Rigor here and there. All these early waves, don't be too afraid. Get stuck in, kill stuff. Our starting point is going to be almost always like around here. This is our first blob wave, and I will show you how blobs work. Most people might tell you to start flicking them based on ticks and stuff, but this is the easy solution. When a blob sees you, pray switch immediately. When it hits you, wait a second and switch your prayer. It hits you, wait a second, and switch your prayer. That's it, that's blobs. Wait a second, switch your prayer. Hits you, wait a second, switch your prayer. And you don't have to do anything else. This is all there is to blobs. Now, when you have to do one more thing. When you're really, really far away from a blob, you need to switch your prayer as soon as it hits you. It hits me, switch prayer. I can be a bit further away, actually. I can think maybe here we'll start dragging him around. Yeah. I'll drag him around fully so I can show. So it hits me and I instantly switch prayer. Hits me, instantly switch prayer. And you can do this without looking at the blob. It hits me, switch prayer. And so as a first caper, you can employ this tactic to never be hit by blobs. Wow, incredible. I was too late on that one. That was actually too late. You got to do it as soon as it hits you, like that. And you can do this to flick blobs with ease from almost any position you like. So remember, if you're close, wait a second. If you're far, as soon as it hits you. The end. We can also one-tick alternate blobs. And this is a tactic you'll need to get good at and practice. And you can go to this wave, wave 4. And you can sit here and learn how to do this, and you can get consistent. And you can sit here for half an hour and make sure you're doing this as well as you can do. And you'll need to do this later on. If you're doing this, blobs will never hit you, ever. If you mess up, they will. But that's that. The last key thing we need to go through before we start doing the waves is understanding how to double heal from blobs. So for this position, and there are a few positions, when we attack the blob, we have to be standing here or anywhere further back. We cannot be standing here. So attack hits us, wait a second, switch prayer. Hits us, wait a second, switch prayer. And when the blob dies, you want to be standing completely still. On this tile or anywhere further back. This causes a little formation to occur. You can then switch to your mage gear, do takeoffs, whatever you want to, augury on. And let's say I'm 40 HP, we're going to blood barrage once, manual casting, and second, instantly manual casting. It looks like this. Once, twice. And you'll get the heal even if it dies. So even though the mage died, I still got the heal. And there's some still alive, and I get a cast, and that cast there still heals me. So this is our method for healing throughout the entirety of the waves. So one barrage, and we're going to start learning how to use North Pillar. We're going to let this bat comes to us, and we can flick Rigor and just kill it. You don't have to use Rigor if you don't want to, just get rid of it. Whenever we're on the edge of a pillar touching it, take a step back if you want to release yourself to be able to attack stuff. If I'm from here and I drag myself out like that, not so good. So this pillar, if something is like on the super restore tile, it can't see me and I can't see it, so I have to release myself from the pillar to attack. And releasing yourself from the pillar on both sides, so going from here to here, will allow you to hit stuff over here. But if I try and attack from here to here, I'll get dragged out. And it ends up like this, which is not good. So, now we've learned how to deal with some of the basics, and we're going to get into it a bit more in depth. Let's deal with this blob again, and notice that while I was dealing with the bat, it's gone back to a really nice position. And so, the more you do this, and notice, again, I'm killing it from anywhere on these tiles, and it aligns it perfectly. I just pray range. I can Ice Barrage because I'm full HP, get some good damage off, maybe another one, and then into my blowpipe, praying accordingly for the remaining blobs. Nice 0 damage, very good healing method. And a lot of the time the waves will fall in such that you end up with a really nice wave where it's like stuck on the pillar and you know how to deal with it. So there's a bat here, I've gone around the pillar, we're dragging stuff in, and I'm just going to wait for it to touch the pillar. And now I can go and attack the blob. Switch immediately when it comes around the corner. Wait a second after it attacks me. Wait a second after it attacks me. Switch. Nothing crazy at this point. You can follow through quite easily. And we can take a step back for when the bat eventually gets to us, but let's just send the Ice Barrage, switch to our proper gear, and clean up. You could send another Ice Barrage, but it was a big XP drop. Now this bat might get to me. Let's just come over here for a second. Oh, unlucky bat. For waves like this, try not to take damage, but don't be too afraid to speed through, because we can heal very easily. So, roughly back on pillar. One Ice Barrage, and let's just duck around the pillar and let these guys come towards me. There's a Nibbler on the pillar, we do not care about this. And notice this blob is getting gate kept. If I take a step in, this one shuffles and that one shuffles. This is nice, because now I got them like behind the pillar. Let's go kill this guy. This is a bit of a weird position, he's not exactly where we want him to be. But if you freeze him early enough, he'll still be stuck. And freeze the back one here as well for a bit more damage. And at this point we should really switch to our blowpipe and start blowpiping. This blob can now see me as I move out. With only one NPC left, I can definitely go and save my pillars. And the better you get at waves and the more comfortable you get at flicking NPCs, the more times you can go out of your way to get pillar save. Oh, he's like stuck, I think. I'll wait for him to come around. Okay. But the better you get at waves, the more you can be able to chase nibblers without sort of anything scary happening. You still shouldn't really chase them, but you can do a little bit from time to time if your pillars are getting low. The only pillar we truly care about is North Pillar. Remember, our camera angle is like nice and high up, and I can see the entire room, no matter what wave I'm on. Not a great barrage, let's try and get this guy off pillar. Switch into our proper gear. We can even blowpipe these. You could send like a no-gear barrage as well. A no-gear barrage will still be good damage. You can put Kodai on blowpipe, Kodai on occult on. Just little things. And the name of the game is really going to be damage going through this. So, one barrage, switch to our proper gear, maybe kill the guys on the pillar, because North Pillar is easy to protect. There's only one NPC, I just pray against it. And melees, don't be afraid of them. Don't go and hide for like single melees, just kill them. If you want to kill them faster, put Rigor on. Rigor good. So, one barrage. Nice big open wide angle, one barrage. And let's kill this bat. I'm going to put on Rigor and flick it a little bit. The melee's getting close to me, so I'll pray melee. Okay, it's just a melee, so now I can go and maybe like get Bofa out and use it to kill these guys. From afar, I can run up to them with blowpipe. But like, I am in control right now. All I have to do is pray melee and I won't take damage, so it's okay to go and save the pillar like this. I can blowpipe walk with the melee, I can bring him back towards the pillar, get ready for the next wave. And we'll learn a bit more about melee pathing and safe spotting as we do the next few waves. Learning to control melees is one of the biggest skills for Firstscapers. Let's just barrage and click the ground. If I keep barraging, I'm going to get dragged that way, which is not good. And notice how the melee becomes stuck here. I can put on Bofa to reach this guy from afar. And I have 3-tile window where the melee doesn't get to me. If I take one more step, he will do. So you can start learning the safe spots for pillars. Like this side here, these 6 tiles are all safe from melees. And the only time you won't be safe, let's also take a hit from it. Let's go into melee range and take a hit so he doesn't dig on me. Taking hits resets its melee dig. And the only time the melee gets to me, if I'm standing over here, is if it spawns up here or over here. And again, we're not going to be afraid of the bat, just click it. So these 2 spawns for melees, up here and up here, these are scary ones. This means you have to like run away or kill it. Half the time we're just going to kill it. We're just going to choose a DPS solution. Okay, let's run behind the pillar. The blob is up there. Let's just get behind the pillar and pre-melee. Now we can click the melee. Blob is safe spotted. Great. If the niddles went to the pillars and they were all alive, ignore them. Your south pillar matters the least. And you want your south pillar dead by wave 50. Otherwise it will cause complications when mages spawn here. So you really want your pillar to actually be dead by wave 50. It sounds counterintuitive, but it will make your life a lot easier. So we're good HP. Let's send an Ice Barrage. Not a great one. Let's do another one. Now let's go into our proper gear and clean up. When we go and attack the major, we pray mage. This guy can hit pretty hard, like 18s or so. No point losing nearly 20 HP at the end of a wave. Just pray properly. One barrage, and let's flick this blob. And let's go behind the pillar and let things drag in. I still gotta flick the blob, so when this attack hits me, I can pray. Attack hits me, I can pray. And this melee is stuck, so let's go and attack the bat. So I wait for the mage attack to hit me, pray range, and round the pillar. After the bat's dead, maybe I pray melee and kill the melee. Notice that there's 2 nibbles on the pillar, and it doesn't matter. I can use Rigor to speed this up, so I can go and save the pillar a bit faster. I'll put on a 2-way, go out, Ice Barrage, I'll flick my prayer for the blob. And I'll clean up with Blowpipe. And now I'm back to flicking the blob in the same manner. Now, for blobs on this side of the pillar, we want to kill them from this south side here. So I gotta kill them from this tile or further back. What I don't want to do is kill them from this side. And so there are a couple of particular positions and ways to deal with blobs on North Pillar. This is just one of the 3 you have to remember. So we have the standard position where it's up here, and we are standing over here. This is the second position. We want to stand over here now. And then you get this exact same formula. Good barrage, all dead. Great, no damage. So on pillar, nice big angle, 1 barrage, and let's flick the blob. Rigor on to kill this bat. I'm gonna flick the blob as normal, and I'm just gonna stand still. I know this melee is gonna be trapped because we already established these tiles are safe. Let's click the melee and use Rigor while flicking the blob. The biggest mistake right here would be to panic and run somewhere else. This position is very safe. And the only problem that you might have is if you make it hard for yourself by moving. Now, before this melee digs, we're going to kill it, because it's the first thing we've clicked. So there's no worries even if it digs, like, it's probably going to die as it digs. And if it didn't die here, I could simply pray melee and then kill it. Let's keep flicking this blob. Bit of Rigor on to kill this bat, and maybe I can run over here as well while I'm doing this. I'm still flicking the blob. And now I can flick the bat, so I just pray range. And we're dragging everything into the pillar, which makes life a bit easier. We're now below 50 restore. Let's use a dose to get back up. We want to stay above 50 at all times. We're not going to kill him from this side. We've already learned to kill him over here. So now let's go kill him here. Remember, not close, further away. This position and the other position require you to be quite far. I'm also 91 HP. So after these guys spawn, pray range, and blood barrage. 99. These guys are an incredible healing source. Means you don't have to use many brews at all. You can get back about 40 HP per blob. Okay, let's flick to mage. And now this guy is going to come and get me. So what I'm going to do is put Rigor on and run up to this guy and just kill him. The melee is stuck, so as long as I run in a straight line, he'll remain stuck. I'm going to try and flick the blob up there. When this hits me, I'm going to switch my prayer. And I'm going to keep flicking each of these at the same time. So, hits me, prayer. Hits me, prayer. Okay, that's 1 blob down. So I'm just eliminating a target. I'm kind of gate-kept from all locations, and I'm just eliminating a target. Now I'm behind the pillar, so I'm safe. I can't click this melee, or I'm going to get dragged out badly. So I'm going to wait for him to shuffle out from underneath me. Now I can click it. So all we're doing there is, like, we can see what's safe spotted. We have 2 targets on me. I choose a target to eliminate. I choose the close one. I went and killed the blob, sprayed against the one from far away. No damage taken. If I did, I have blowpipe specs, I can heal off the blob. Let's say for a second I took damage. Let's say I took another blob hit, like this. Okay, please hit me. Let's say I took a bit more damage than I would have liked. Paid actor. Okay, please. Paid anti-actor. One more. Okay, so I took maybe 40 damage on that wave. How do I heal? So we're going to go back to using this method of phantom barraging. I can actually show it in place. We stay here and we run back in a straight line. We want to keep line of sight. Put our mage here on. Take off any negatives you can do. Augury on. 61 HP start. 1 barrage, 2 barrage, and get a third one ready and just keep casting. So like, there's the cast, another one. There's the second cast, another one. And I'm 93 HP. So there's all my problems solved. About 40 HP, give or take. Okay, 1 barrage, and let's just pray melee. It's only 2 melees. We don't need to know the wave number or anything, we can just react to what's on the wave. Notice, we can also practice. If you ever get to a wave with a single melee, or there's 1 melee left in the wave, you can use it to practice some ideas. So for example, if I leave this singular melee alive, I can learn some stuff. Like, I can learn that this side of the pillar is quite safe, and that also includes this side of the pillar, if he moves over. I can also move from here to here as a safe spot. And when he digs, I can learn that going from here to here is safe. And when he digs to me here, there's a specific method of trapping him. So I'll let him dig one more time. And the idea is that I'm going to go around the pillar to this tile here. Really, any of these tiles here, any of these 4 will work. And I can run down here to safe spot him. So we'll show you how to drag him around. You can be anywhere here. Anywhere here is fine. Even here. Should have come down on the diagonal. So, melee digs. Now. Close enough. And we go around the pillar. And this is the idea again, where stuff gets stuck on the corners up here. So when learning to use North Pillar, you know stuff is stuck. And you can unstick it by moving out into it. And if you go back, it's still stuck. You can control stuff and keep it in place. You can also move down the pillar to drag the melee down the pillar. And you can do this up until here, but you can't go to the very end, otherwise you'll see it like goes around the pillar. From here, I can move in and out and take a hit, or I can move up and down and take a hit. And you can do this to keep him in place, because every time he attacks me, his dig timer resets. So if I'm attacking like a major, maybe I'll be praying mage, and then on the off tick, I can come in, take a hit, and go back to like killing the major or the melee. Something like this. And you'll see me do this later on in the run. It's a simple movement. You can even, if you want to, take a hit praying mage. If you have to. But stuff like this is very important. Taking a hit resets the dig timer of the melee, otherwise the melee can dig multiple times, and you don't want it to. Melee digs are the #1 enemy of first capers. Alright, nice barrage. If you learn your XP drops, you'll just know when stuff dies as well, which helps. And now we have a ranger. So, pray range. And let's go after this guy. Proper gear on. Damage gear on. Kill the nibbler because there's only 1 NPC. And then go click it. And again, notice I've used 1 restore to get to wave 18. And we're going to end the run with at least 2 restores, even if I'm just camping prayers. Occasionally I'll flick like this to speed things up, but we're still going to end on multiple restores remaining. And this is not a fast cape, this is like a 90-minute to a 2-hour cape. So across 2 hours, I'm not flicking. Back on pillar, nice open camera angle. 1 barrage, and click the ground just in case, because you might get dragged out. Now we can just kill the bat. There is a bat safe spot which is over here, and there are different safe spots for each position the bat is in on the pillar, but knowing this is very good. This is the only tile you really need to mark as a first caper. This is your start tile for 50+. And 1 tile west of that is the bat safe spot, which is just like the line of sight for the blobs and stuff again. You will need Zuck tiles, which you can get from the interwebs. Don't mark the middle, just mark the 4. We can start to pick up a restore or 2 as we go along. When we hit 50, we just instant restore. 1 barrage, and all 3 of these NPCs are range, so I can just click the bat, maybe flick rigor if I want to speed things up again. It's definitely worth learning to flick quite well. As a first caper, you're going to improve a lot if you try and flick. And one of the big skills for Zuck is going to be blowpipe walking, which you might have done at Zora or Vorkath. And that's basically moving back and forth, like attack, move, attack, move, attack, move. Doing this fluidly and learning to do this fluidly is something very important for the cape. So take the time to practice it if you're not good at it right now. Let's use another dose of restore. One barrage, maybe just click the ground to make sure. And we can assess. This guy's stuck. Okay, let's go kill this nibbler. Let's go kill this nibbler here. We're making sure not to be dragged up and over here, because then the blob will see us. We just kill the ranger. And so the lesson here is that most waves are solved by standing still, assessing what's going on, and then making a choice. You will not solve waves by running around like a headless chicken. Right, this is a different blob position. This guy is on this side of the pillar, and what we're going to do is we're going to kill him from here and then run in. Looks a bit like this. The reason we run in is because we can't reasonably safe spot all the mini blobs. Kind of awkward. So we run in, get to our gear on, pray mage for this, barrage the middle one, switch to our proper gear, and clean up. That's the whole thing. And as long as we run in early enough, you will be able to catch pretty much everything. One barrage, let's hide from the mini blob. Just go around the pillar for a second. Put our tank gear on and just have a think. Okay, well I want to drag the ranger closer. Let's go around this side of the pillar to get him a bit closer. I can kill the bat and flick the blob. The bat might hit me, not a big deal. I'm just flicking the blob right now. Okay, the ranger's closer, now I can click the ranger. There is a nibbler, I'm going to ignore it. If you don't run in, some of the melees from the mini blobs can move towards you and it separates them, which makes it awkward to heal from and can damage you. Alright. So now there's only one NPC. I know how to flick blobs now. Switch my prayer. So I can go after this. Hits me. Wait a second. Switch my prayer. Now I'm going to drag him back so he's in the correct starting position. And I'm 80 HP at the end of this wave. So I'm going to use him to heal up. Now, I'm not really low HP, so I'm not going to run all the way back. I'm just going to stand here, put augury on, and barrage normally. And I got 93 HP, which I think is acceptable. So it's a nice, quick, easy way of healing, 0 damage at the end of the wave. Good camera position, one barrage, and let's just hide. I'm not trying to flick the blob, I'm just hiding. I might take one hit, not a big deal. Let's use Rigger here. Okay, I have a nibbler on South Pillar, I'm going to ignore it. I want to kill the bat because it's kind of in the way. For this, I'm just going to literally tank the blob. Rigger on, kill the bat, move back in. I might take some damage, I might not. These guys are now moving up, and I have to learn how to alternate this. So you have two methods of doing this. Method 1 is to pray range for an entire cycle, then catch it. That looks like this. So that is like praying range for an entire ranger cycle, then getting on mage on the next cycle. If you want to do it immediately, that looks like this. You can go based on the ranger animation, or just timing. So now that we can do that, we can choose a method and go and kill the blob. And again, if you're not consistent at this, go to wave 4 and sit there for 30 minutes and practice. Pray range at the end. And I can blood barrage here for a bit of HP, go to my proper gear and clean up. Now I don't pray against the major here, because obviously the ranger is on me and that's kind of scary. So we can take a bit of damage, but that's okay. Now I can go after the nibbler. Yes, the pillar's low, but we don't really care. And if you want to heal here, heal off the ranger. These guys are great for healing. However, we're 90 HP. We don't really need the heals, and it's going to be slow and drain our supplies. So let's just use restore and click it with range. If you really need to heal, you can also blood barrage nibblers, which is fine too. Go. One barrage, and let's just stand still. Okay, the ranger's trapped, 2 blobs on me, let's put rigor on and kill this guy. Blowpipe spec to get some HP, I can even kill the nibbler while I'm here. And now I'm going to flick the other blob over there. The attack hits me, I switch prayers. Attack hits me, I switch prayers. Attack hits me, I switch prayers. I've eliminated one source of damage, I can flick this blob just fine. Let's get ready to go around the pillar. Attack hits me, I switch prayers. After I switch prayers here, I switch into range, so now I can go around the pillar. Seems a bit complex, but it's not really. I can go into my mage gear, I can go and heal for a little bit, make sure that I'm using blood barrage autocast, and I can shield for a second. You could alternatively, instead of going and killing a blob, you can also stand here, spray range and come around the pillar, and kill this melee, this ranger while alternating. So I can just stand here and do this. And just click the ranger and the blob over here won't see me, nothing will happen. With 64 HP, I want to heal. Let's pray range, go all the way back, takes off some negatives, augury on, one instantly, a second one instantly, get ready for a third. 85 HP, should go to 99, 98, okay. One barrage, let's just stand still and assess. Put the proper gear on. Okay, so you can do some fun stuff like maybe Bofa this guy and run back. The melee can stay stuck as well. You can use Bofa to clean up these guys. And now I want to drag the ranger closer. So I can wait for attack. There it is, go around and then pray melee. Just watching the ranger at that point to see when it attacks. 54 prayer, let's use a dose of restore. Right click melee to attack, otherwise I might get dragged out because he's got a bad hitbox. And then we're 99 HP, starting the wave. We can go to our start tile or wherever you want to be around here. I'll pick up this one right now as well. And so we're letting stuff drag in a lot of the time. DPS something, we'll let it drag in. If you see me doing some wild stuff to stay alive, it's purely because I want the run to actually be useful and not just dead instantly. Some waves are just very tricky for learners, that's how it is. Bofa, by the way, is like pretty much the same as Blowpipe. If you have Amethyst or Dragon Darts, then Blowpipe is usually better on a lot of stuff, but not always. The melee's in this position, you can move in and out like this, and you can drag them around. If you stand here, you will be hit, but if you come up another tile, it's a bit like the reverse of this. You can stand anywhere here. Anywhere in these 6 tiles is like safe from that side. It's like the reverse of this, where you can be here and it's the same. Melee's on me, I can try and step out from underneath him, but if I attack him too quickly, I'm going to get pulled, so let's just stand still, let him wiggle out. And then onto the ranger. So we are now on wave 26, approaching wave 30 and the major. And the next few won't take too long. But it's getting a bit more complex, because we're going to see rangers, blobs, and melees now. Most times, the melee is going to be stuck. As long as I stand still here, melee is going to be stuck. If it's not, I can either choose to DPS it or run away. Let's do one barrage and just stand still for a second, switch to my gear. Okay, looks like everything's stuck. Let's attack this bat. I can even use Bofa in a second once the bat dies to go after the nibbler. And then I can maybe go attack the melee. Now the melee is going to dig at some point, so I can use Rigor to speed it up, or I can just, I can have a backup plan, like run back here when it digs. Now I can go and attack the ranger and that's fine, but I can also just wait a second and let it drag in. I can also do some funny stuff like Bofering it and letting it drag. Cool. Utilizing our weapons, having a bit of fun. Very good. And this bat is going to be stuck behind. Good lesson is that all the NPCs in the room are pillars for other NPCs. You can use them just like pillars. Let's use some more restore. We've now used 2 full restores to get to wave 27. It's perfectly fine. One barrage, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that can see me. Let's go around the pillar, and let's attack this melee. Let's just stand still. This blob is going to drag down the pillar because it's stuck on the ranger. If I stepped one in, the blob would also move into the pillar, but I got to do it early. Now he's still corner trapped because this corner is really strong, and I can release the blob by doing this. I can also unrelease it by moving it, and it's stuck again. There's nibbles on the pillar. Okay, let's kill the blob quickly. In this position, let's maybe move back and let the blob drag down. This makes life slightly easier, doesn't really matter otherwise. Again, we step in, and then barrage, and then go to our proper gear, and then damage. Finish them up with Blowpipe. Let's pre-range, a 2-way Kodai, and either a Blood Barrage or a Ice Barrage on the nibblers. Just to get rid of them. This pillar's a bit more useful than South Pillar, so we like to save it where we can do. And as you speed up the techniques and as you speed up a little bit more, you can go after them a bit more quickly. You can afford to take a bit of damage in a very simple wave. Dragging the blob is a bit nicer. If you kill it while the blob is stuck on the corner, the NPCs are also stuck on the corner. If you drag it round, you can stand here and you can see all of them, compared to them being here. That's all it is. And hello, Phony. Right, one barrage, let's stand still, clicking the ground just to make sure. Let's kill this bat. as we know, this melee is going to become stuck unless it spawns here, and it didn't. There's a blob gatekeeping me, so I'm going to use Rigor to kill the melee as fast as possible. If it digs, my solution is to go over here and start flicking the blob. As an example, if it dug right now, it would dig like this on me, and I could run across, and then the melee would get stuck here, and I can flick the blob. Now I can just kill the blob since it's here. Again, it's in a standard position. We move in, switch our gear, barrage the middle one, and then back into our proper gear. Dead, good, go after the ranger. So like, these are all building blocks, right? As you get to later waves, as we add the major, we're still using the same building blocks, the same principles. And the only thing that changes is that you might get 1 or 2 more pillar stacks. Okay, back to our start tile. One barrage, and let's just have a think. So there's bats coming, and I can kill the bats, but there's also a blob up there. So if I stand around the pillar, now it's only a ranger. Okay, that's a bit more manageable. If I stood there and killed the bats, maybe the blob does a lot of damage to me. Don't really want that. Now, I've got to think, will the melee dig, and what happens when it does? Well, I know I can go from here to here, so I could do that. I could also try and DPS the ranger. Let's put Rigor on and try and DPS the ranger. But I can always go and stand up here and kill the bats, and then I can flick the blob. So I have a plan for when it digs. As it turns out, putting Rigor on paid off. So I went for the DPS option primarily, and if my DPS wasn't good enough, I had a backup plan. It's difficult to do this when learning, but in short, DPS stuff. If there's a melee in play, think about DPS and stuff. In that case, the DPS paid off. Wait for this bat to drag up a little bit, keep flicking the blob. And I've got to go save this pillar. So after this bat dies, Kodai 2-way, Ice Barrage, and keep sending them. Maybe clean up with Blowpipe since I'm quite close now. Good. I'm still flicking the blob the same way. Now let's drag him back on the pillar, and so we can deal with him in the standard way. Lovely. One barrage, and let's try and flick the blobs. I am going to put on Rigor here. I'm going to try and flick as much as I can while killing these nibblers. And it looks like this might be another scenario where killing the blob is good. Here's another solution. Attack the ranger and alternate. This is a bit more tricky. If you've done a few more attempts, you might be better versed at doing this. And if the melee digs, then I can move back around. But I've got Rigor on to try and DPS it yet again. So this is the solution from the other wave that I didn't get to do. Now I can move back around the pillar, and I can begin alternating whenever I'm comfortable. And alternating will count both the blobs. So this is quite safe. This is a combination of like previous 2 waves. This is the combination of the wave where I had the 2 blobs that I had and I went and killed one, and a ranger gatekeeping. And instead I went to kill the ranger. And this wave from before was the same as the one where the melee was gatekeeping. So we combine both things together into an even more cohesive wave. It's quite fun. And the more you know, and the more solves you do like this, the more you like experience it, the more times you can like have waves like that, where you just combine tactics from different waves. Sending a blob barrage to get a bit more HP, and then we're going to end up killing this blob from this side of the pillar. But again, the solution to that wave was DPS something, and alternate, because alternating is very broken. One barrage, into our proper gear. Let's clean up, pray mage. Lovely. Nice big camera angle, range spray. One barrage, and let's stand still. Sometimes when you get multiple NPCs like this guy gets stuck on the edge of that guy, and as you can see, he's coming down the pillar and he's going to get to me. Let's move over to here and make sure he's safe spotted. I could also stand up here and let the ranger drag in even more. It's a tricky one. Sometimes you'll get a few melees like that, and they will drag in together. You have to be wary and watch where it's moving. There's also a nice little trick for melees that are stuck on this side of the pillar, where if, let's say there's a major behind it, I can pray mage, move it in and out, and it will come down. Didn't do it fast enough here, but yeah. Here, Arcanus. Alright, if you want some more resources, have a look at this stuff, and on YouTube I've got like 6 runs now with Bofa. I'm trying to get to 10, then I'm going to move on to tier B. Yeah, so two melees becomes double ranger. Don't need the wave guide open to know that. And so next wave we can start nice and aggressive. The more comfortable you get with the waves, the more you've done, you can begin to be a bit more aggressive to both save some time and have a bit more fun with it. So 1 barrage. And let's be aggressive, let's go attack some stuff. Notice our south pillar is about 20% HP, doesn't matter. Our west pillar is maybe 50%, doesn't matter. Our north pillar, completely safe. North pillar is very, very easy to protect. And there's a few more spots to protect that we'll look at a bit further down. TOA tutorials. I won't do TOA tutorials because the content's too easy. It's very just easy to learn. Tank it example runs. You're right, I won't. Tob is the one that doesn't have much accessibility, so Tob is the one that needs more focus. Alright, this guy's dead. We have an intermission wave with double nibblers. And we can start praying mage as well ahead of time.
You look like you could make a mean pizza with those arms.
So, 1 barrage, let's clean up with blowpipe. Mr. Job, thank you for the sub. And a bit more restore as well. So now we start with pray mage. Same position, same everything until wave 50. 1 barrage, and then into our proper gear. You can always switch to Bofa to get like far away stuff like that. And we're going to be Bofaing like every major. Pipe with Dragon or Amethyst darts is fine as well, but Bofa is really just a bit nicer for the range. These guys can be a bit slow. If you want to flick your prayers, in whatever fashion you want to, go for it. If you want to flick Rigger, go for it. Both you with a Bofa and a Major are both 4-tick, so you can align cycles and lazy flick with Rigger and Mage if you can do it. Alternatively, just use Rigger is fine. We really have no prayer warriors at all with this game. Your chances of missing a flick are 0, unless you try and turn off your prayer intentionally. 1 barrage, and let's switch to our blowpipe and Rigger and just kill this bat. No point running and hiding, it doesn't matter if it damages us at all. Rigger on, kill it. 2-way into the blood barrage on these guys, and I can send another one from afar to try and make sure they're dead, as well as do the phantom barrage, as long as I'm double manual casting. Whenever an NPC dies and the Major is alive, it has a 1 in 10 chance to randomly respawn it when it attacks. So if the bat respawns, maybe I go back and stand on the bat safe spot and kill it really quick. Maybe I Bofa it from afar to get rid of it, that's fine. Bofa versus revived NPCs is very good. Kills them very quickly. If a ranger respawns, you have a bit of a problem. And blobs are not good to respawn. Pray range here for a second. This respawn takes up 2 full attack cycles, which means I can alternate, and I won't miss a flick, even if it respawns. Right. Okay, there's a bat here. I can just go around the pillar for a second. And I can pray range while dealing with these guys. Again, they can be respawned, but dealing with NPCs that have respawned isn't the problem as long as it's a bat or a melee. A ranger or a blob is a bit more awkward, but it's still okay. Whenever stuff respawns, it respawns around about here. So, behind the Major is fine like that. And again, if it respawns, you can just Bofa it, and it can't be respawned again. So it's quite nice having a Bofa to just attack stuff from afar. Right click bat, kill bat, dead, no problem. And these guys can no longer be respawned. So we've got a bit of time here, we can flick some prayer. We can save a little bit. We can practice some flicks. Lovely. Let's go back to our proper gear. 1 barrage, and let's just hide. They're both up here, let's just hide for a second. There's a really good spot back here. It allows us to attack nibblers on the pillar, on north pillar. We can use Bofa or Barrage to reach them from here. And it's just like in line with the pillar, so you're still behind the pillar. And you can just attack. So the blob barrage tile is here, and then the nibbler safe spot is one left. Just straight back on the pillar. And that's why north is so easy to protect. Now we have a major on a blob. We don't really want to kill the blob before the major, so we have to alternate this. Again, you can start by starting with Mage Prey, holding it for a whole attack like this. The blob will hit you once, and then catch it on the second one. You can always start immediately, like this. Either way is fine. And this is where the consistency kicks in. Gotta get good at this. This is the one and only skill you have to get really good at. You can use the measure to reaffirm your timing. Keep alternating until the blob attacks you one more time, then you can stop and flick normally. We're 85 HP because we took a hit, which is okay. We're going to get it back from the blob anyway. That's enough HP. Let's go kill. One barrage, and when this blob stops moving is when I start flicking. So he stops moving now, and then I flick. Hits me, and I switch prayer. Hits me, switch prayer. As soon as he attacks me, I can move around the pillar. You don't have to wait for the correct prayer to move around. As soon as he attacks you and you switch, you can go. You have a small window. But in this case, again, standing still, very, very important. The more you stand still, the easier it's going to be. As long as there's not a melee up here or here again. If there is, kill it, immediately attack it, or run around the pillar. I'll start flicking some rigor to speed this up. Just a little bit here and there. And we end with the blob here. I'm not quite full HP, so I can send a blob barrage as well. We're saving pipe specs in case we get into a bad scenario. Okay, let's put on rigor and kill this guy on the pillar. Let's kill this bat, bring rigor. I can even blow pipe spec him if he doesn't die. Let's attack the major, and I'm going to start alternating on the next cycle. Oh, okay, let's kill the bat again. We just pause for a second and we kill the bat. Now we go back on the major and we begin alternating. We've got rigor on for the defense and the damage. We're ignoring the blob. And we're just going for the simple solution. If I'm comfortable, I can take a rigor off. Just alternating every tick. You can put on metronome to help you with this, that kind of stuff. Wait till the blob attack hits me. Okay, there it is. Now I can pray. Now I can pray mage for the blob and then go around. Alternative solution to this wave would be to come down over here, let the blob drag in, move around to this side of the pillar, move up here, kill any bat here, maybe deal with the blob but don't quite kill it. The major will drag back in and we go back around the pillar. But that's an example of like on the fly how to just instantly start alternating. Don't need to worry about doing it immediately. But as soon as you take one or two blob hits, that's all you're going to take. Then you get back into cycle. Right. We're 80 HP at the start, which isn't great. Let's move around the pillar. I can throw rigor on here and a blowpipe spec here. Not great. In fact, I zeroed on both. I can do it again if I really want to. I want to get these guys off the pillar. Now these guys are on the pillar, I can move back. We got rigor on for defense, so we're really not taking much damage. But saving north pillar is important. Okay, we drag this guy in. We go from here to this tile. This tile in particular will drag this guy close enough to be able to attack. You can also attack him from the middle, like this. This drags him 2 tiles by waiting 2 ticks here. And anything behind the pillar doesn't matter anymore. So Bofa is extremely good here. Let's use more restore. Yeah. Once we get into the 50s, we can assess our pillar HP, and half the time we don't have to worry about saving it so much, but in these early waves, especially just like fairly simple ones with no melees, worth trying to save the pillar. With these stacked blobs, they both see you at the same time. So we do the standard prayer flick. Wait a second, then switch. When this guy at the front dies, we pray against the back one. Let's drag him in. Same position as always. And with 97, we can just barrage here with Ice Barrage for a bit more KO potential. This guy's not frozen, he's going to come around the pillar, so I gotta pray mage. Always watch the major, he's not usually frozen. One barrage, let's click the ground, make sure we don't get pulled out anywhere. And notice the melee is going to be stuck. We can actually Bofa him from here, which is completely fine. We do want the major to drag in closer anyway. So it doesn't really matter if we kill him or not, but for the sake of convenience, sure. Let's go behind the pillar, get the major a bit closer. And we know that when the respawn occurs, it's going to respawn up here somewhere, so this is not much cause for concern. We'll see if the melee respawns. I can set up a nice bit of a corner trap here. I'll show you guys what it means. If he respawns. Okay, so setting up a melee safe spot is very easy in this position. As long as an NPC has its line across the edge of the pillar, we step here. And this works for rangers, blobs, mages, even bats. We step up here, and as long as this guy's round the corner, we take a step northeast. We take a step northeast. I'm going to stop attacking now to showcase this. And we can do this in all circumstances, and this treats the NPC as a pillar. The melee digs, we take a step northeast, and now he's stuck on the edge. A bit like how, if I'm over here, the melee is stuck on the edge of this pillar, trying to drag in. It's the same thing. Now, because it's a respawned melee, we can just kill it. But that corner trap in particular takes a second to set up, requires me to go here, and then all it takes is one step back in when the melee digs. You can do this for any of these NPCs. Treating it as a pillar and generating a safe spot out of thin air. This particular one is very important to learn. Massive, massive increase for success rates. You'll use it multiple times a run. That's Barrage. And I can use a Bofa to reach it from here. Now, I want to attack the major first, but the melee is going to dig at some point. So let's set up another safe spot. I'm going to take a step out. Using Bat safe spot, this tile here is quite nice for this. And it's exactly the same principle. I just run northeast, one tile. So I can stand anywhere along here, and just move in one tile like that. If the melee is on you, usually it means that, let's say I'm standing here, and the melee box is like this. Take a step down. Let's do northeast, and sometimes I'll be standing here and he'll move down, in which case I just come down further. Now, I've got him in position. I want to keep him in position. So after the major attacks, take a hit. This resets his dig timer. Now he's not going to dig for another 10 seconds. And every now and then, come up and take a hit. Alternatively, get out your blowpipe, put rigor on, and kill it. You can do it with Bofa as well. Bofa's strong here as well. So if you're not comfortable controlling the melee, once he's in a safe position, kill him. Let's go to the bat safe spot to finish up the wave. So we're going to be using some of these melee traps more and more. Try and learn them, they're super useful. One barrage, and let's go around the pillar. I'll put rigor on and my proper gear, and when the melee gets to me, I'll pray melee. So I'm tanking the bat, but that's okay. Looks like my south pillar's going to fall, not a big concern. Okay. In this position, there's some stuff you can do, but I'm just going to kill the melee. This is the easiest solution. I can even take off my rigor now, because I'm in control. One thing you can do is if the melee is in this exact position, you can go around the pillar. Like this. And he'll drag in up there. Don't really recommend this as a first caper, but you can do it. This now gives access to this nibbler, which is quite nice, without killing the melee. This is not really a first caper strat, but it's interesting. Let's kill this bat because it respawned. I can take my rigor off and conserve some prep. If you, like, in a pinch, if you're standing here, you can come around the pillar over here. That's all it is. Okay, the melee's respawned. I don't really want to deal with it. I could just kill it. Killing it's completely fine. But as practice, I can set up the safe spot. I can go here and prepare. So we're just utilizing some of the skills from the previous waves, and we're going to keep using them. Don't know if I can reach that bat. Kind of. I'll kill the bat. We're just going to relearn the melee stuff. Use more restore. Melee dig's about now, plus or minus a few seconds. Let's go to our safe spot. Lovely. So even doing some, you know, this is kind of unnecessary. I could have just killed the melee. But doing this will teach you and it will give you practice. And if you do it a couple of times, you'll just be able to do it on command, even in high stress positions. Okay. We're on wave 44. One barrage. And this is a bit of a tricky one. I'm going to put rigor on for some defense. And I want to kill the melee because it's kind of like gate. I want to attack the major, but I can't really. I'm going to take a step out and back around. And now I can right-click this melee and alternate. Let's get ready to alternate. Okay, let's pray mage only right now and kill these nibblers. I can just only pray mage. And this is not a big deal. Now there's not a melee that's gatekeeping me, so I can run over here. And now I can just flick the blob for a moment and take my time. And when this hits me, I can pray something else, then round the pillar. There's a few ways of solving this wave. There was a melee over here, and a blob over here. I could have just stood here and let the major drag in, pray melee, and kill the melee. Completely fine. There's a few ways you can do this kind of wave. But being able to one-tick alternate on command to do something is also really good, and this trick for dragging the melee in and out is also really good. It's the same thing that I was trying to do. Like, if this major was a melee, and I'm standing behind the pillar, I can move out, then in, and he will come down and be safe spotted. Same thing. I should be able to show that a bit later on. Let's come back around to this side of the pillar. We need to kill him from the correct position. We now need to come all the way back. Same idea as over there. Put our proper gear on, augury on, get our barrage ready. One barrage, two barrage, and maybe get a third ready as well. We can get a third on him over here. 91 HP, 95 HP from like 60. So there's all the HP we ever need. Another dose of restore, and not a good barrage. Okay, let's put on rigor. Let's kill this bat. And just standing still. And the melee gets so spotted. So we're just standing still. So I want to kill the melee because my pillar's getting decimated. I've got rigor on. I'm going to send a singular blowpipe spec just to try and get rid of it. I'm going to hold on to one as a useful tool. And we're just trying to get rid of it ASAP. Augury on, mage gear on, maybe a good barrage or two. Let's try get another one. Okay, and we save the pillar. So DPS solution, saving the pillar, great. Let's kill this bat, go back to praying mage pretty quickly. Blob just stays there the entire time, no worries. And again, standing still, that's the solution. If you start running behind the pillar, you start trying to, you know... Oh, okay, let's take a step back here, because this is in range. Now, the melee's been respawned, so it's got half HP. If I kill it, it can't be respawned again. Just kill it. Simple solution. Maybe rigor if you want to, like, guarantee it. Okay. And the idea here is that, like, if I went and chased the triple nibblers, what if I splash once? What if I splash twice? What if I kill two of them but not three? And then suddenly the melee that's over here comes and bites my head off. Suddenly I'm on the pillar blowpiping and this blob can see me. And so running over here causes more problems than it solves. Instead, if I stand still, tank 10% of the pillar and kill the melee, I'm 100% HP, no problem. And these pillars don't matter. My north pillar, 100% HP, safe. Chasing them's very, very bad. Okay, let's deal with the blob, same as always. Hi, Mateo. Step in, get the mage prey, maybe a blood barrage in case they hit me. and into our proper gear. And remember, if there's an NPC like stuck on the corner, if I attack him, I'm getting dragged out. If I attack him, I'm going to get dragged here, which is bad to get, you know, seen. So if I take a step back, I release him from the pillar. Which is a much better way of staying behind the pillar than getting dragged. Use more restore. One barrage, and let's put on our proper gear. Rigor, and kill these bats. Killing the front one first, because the back one is stuck behind it. Okay. Now I can, from here, attack the major. And it looks like my pillar's going to fall, so let's just ignore it. We can't save it, we're not going to try to save it. I've got Rigor on as a DPS option right now. And what I want to do is keep the melee in position. I can't kill the major in time, so what I'm going to do is take some hits from the melee like this. I will actually kill the bat as well since it respawned. But every few attacks, I'm going to get ready, prayer book open, major attacks, step in, pray melee, step back. Alternatively, kill the melee. But this means I don't have to kill the melee twice. When he's respawning, it's a good time to do it. So you can take advantage of the respawn as well. Both are doing good work. Great. Okay, now we got a blob. Same position as always. At this point, should be getting pretty good at dealing with these guys. One barrage in the middle. Not a very good one. Maybe augury for the next one. And not great again. Let's use rigor and just clean up here. I can heal off this guy. And again, if I like attack him, I'm going to get dragged out like this. Not what I want. So maybe I step back instead. And I just learn from the lesson. Got 89 from him, so it's okay. Sometimes when you're low HP starting wave, you can always begin with a blood barrage. I haven't done it much here, but you can always do this. Okay. Complex wave. Let's put on our tank gear and rigor. And from here, actually, you should be able to attack this guy. And he is stuck. However, I'm going to kill the melee and alternate. The melee is the problem right now. It's gatekeeping my actions. And I'm just praying mage now while I go behind the pillar. And now I can flick this guy. So the idea here is like, I went up to demonstrate that I could attack the major, but the idea is that I can't really kill it fast enough. So here I can start with maybe a blowpipe spec. I'm kind of low on HP. If I take a hit from the major, I might die. So let's try and get a blowpipe spec off. It helps, okay. I have options. I can go over here and I can one-tick alternate. Or I can go over here and I can attack this middle. I can heal off it. I'm not going to move up here because the major might come around and melee me, so I'm just going to pray mage. And clean up with blowpipe. Okay. I'm in a safer position now. There's no flicking to be done. But it's a tricky wave. A lot of stuff gatekeeping, and a melee gatekeeping you over here. Solution is to come up, attack the melee, and then start alternating and be confident. We can attack this melee now. He's just stuck. I can also just kill the major. Either or. Awkward wave, though. Not all waves are going to be easy. You could also go over and kill the blob. You can just kill whatever you can kill. But killing something good. We're using the idea that like the melee was stuck over here. And so you can stand like anywhere here. Any of these tiles. Anywhere here is fine. And you can see the melee and you can attack it while alternating. Alternating solves the wave. We're 61 HP and 57 restore. Let's use a dose. Let's run pretty far back. Take our negatives off. Get our barrage ready once, twice, and get ready for a third. Might be able to do a fourth. Seems like I can. Just keep casting. 86 HP is okay. Let's use a blood barrage early on and clean up with blowpipe. And let's just stand still and assess. We know this guy's going to be trapped, so we don't have to worry about him. However, I do need to hit the major. So what I can do is, when these guys dig, they're going to dig roughly together. If I stand here and attack the major, I can move up here. We know we can alternate between these two spots. Now, after the melees dig the first time together, they might be off-ticked. Which means you have to be a bit more careful, and I'd probably just run away from the major. So they dig together the first time. I can stand up here. Now they may not dig together. So my best option is to perhaps run away from the major and run back here when one of them digs. I can even go around the pillar and get ready to do that. I can prepare. I can get ready for this. And if they dig and this one doesn't quite dig, I can come here and then no problem. Taking a bit of time. They may dig. So this one is off tick now. So my solution is to come around the pillar and pray melee. And if the major was still alive, then this double dig problem isn't an issue. We're now getting to wave 50 at about an hour in. So we're halfway through, give or take. Wave 50 is where it becomes a bit more tricky. We're going to try and start waves on full HP, and our start tile is going to be here instead of anywhere else. We also want our south pillar to be dead by wave 50, so if a Nibblers goes south, I'm going to let them chomp the pillar. They're just going to have 3 happy times on the pillar. We're also going to start using our sea shield, and you could use this on earlier waves if you want to, but it's just it's a kind of an annoying thing to put on all the time. So we're going to start using the top, Praying Mage, Augury if you got spare prayer, and no Virtus top. We want Crystal top on. Click the ground as well. We want Crystal top on for defense instead of Virtus. And now we want to drag this guy in. If I attack him, I'll get dragged out. Not good. We learned before, if we stand here, he drags in, and now we can attack him. Making my life easier. So restore-wise, we've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 restores, and we are approximately halfway through. This is a 2-hour cape doing this kind of style of run, taking it easy and explaining stuff. If I use 5 more restores in the same way that I'm doing, I will end the run with 4 restores. You can roughly base your runs and your prayer off mine if you want to. You can just like get an assessment by getting to Zuck and seeing what you have left and adjusting. But knowing this, if I did a run and got to Zuck, I could always take like another 2 brews, another Bastion pot, stuff like that. But right now I need to just be aware that I have plenty of prayer, and usually in your runs, prayer's not an issue, so don't worry. I can simply keep camping prayer and we're fine. But we're now on wave 50. This is where it begins to get hard. So, new start tile, tank gear on, and if it's a really tricky wave, put Augury on at start, or Rigger. Rigger's fine too. 1 barrage, click the ground, and let's pray range for the ranger. Got hit at 45, kind of rough, but no biggie. Killing the bat, let's take our thing off, get ready to attack the major. After the attack, pray mage and round the corner, or attack and pray mage. Your timing for this is like up to you. We're going to use the rangers post 50 to heal from. Oh. I don't know why I decided to attack it. Anyway, we're going to use the rangers to heal. And if I'm really low like this, I'm just imitating some first caper gameplay, use brews. I haven't touched my brews yet because the waves have been fairly easy, but if I'm in a pinch, if I'm struggling, brew. Not using brews and dying is silly, because sometimes you may only need 1 brew to kill Zuck. But you don't know that unless you get to Zuck. And if you die before you get to Zuck because you were trying to save supplies, you're done goofed. Right, range pray on. Take off all my negatives. Barrage and make sure it's on quick cast. And let's get healed up. I can stand quite far back as well. And in the same way that I've been phantom barraging blobs, I'm hitting really well. I can do another hit here, and I can get a bit more. So I'm at 49, which is not great. As a first caper, you should probably be brewing, but I'm going to just use 1 blood barrage and then pray range. And we're going to be okay here. I do suggest just brewing before the ranger dies is probably best. I don't want to kill this guy first. Let's go and attack the bat, wait for the attack, pray mage going around, and just kill this bat. I can even blowpipe spec it to get a bit more HP out of it. And now we can go for the major. I'm going to let South Pillar die, we don't need it anymore. But yeah, really, like, the best solution at the end of that wave, if you're new to Inferno, keep the ranger at like 20% HP, and just double brew. Double brewing is very, very good. Triple brewing sometimes feels a bit unnecessary, but double brewing is like enough to get you from 40 HP to like 70 HP. And that's enough to keep you alive. And then a blood barrage and the mini blobs, 80 HP. You're not going to have it every wave on 99. But the closer you can get to it, the better. If you got to get brews to get there, do it. blood barraging mages is a viable strat. It's a thing you can do. Don't recommend it though. It's just very slow and wastes supplies. There are better things to blood barrage, and brews you have plenty of. But if you are like 10 HP and the major is the last thing alive, absolutely blood barrage it. Negatives off. Check we're on autocast, and off we go. Birth to stop is actually quite effective here, you can kind of feel it. When should you Bastions it? 56 onwards is like good waves to be Bastioned. Okay, we got to 84, not too bad. I'm still gonna Ice Barrage here. I'm gonna put Augury on though. Okay, let's pray range here. We can go around the pillar and we can use this Nibbler to do that. We can start attacking the Major, and I'm gonna start alternating. That was the last attack that was off-tick from the blob, so this is okay. And I've got Rigor on for some defense. You can brew here and pray mage while you brew, but if you're confident with your one-tick, just continue. Keep alternating until the next attack comes in. Now we can stop. I'm gonna start flicking normally, make sure I go in the straight line, and really you should be brewing now. I'm gonna get one blowpipe spec off, and then brew twice. And then restore once. And here, I'm gonna blowpipe all of these guys. The reason we're not doing anything else is because if I make one step further around the pillar and come like into the blob, then this ranger sees me, which is bad. These are a couple of tricky waves. I'm getting hit fairly hard. Which is good, really. These are the waves I want to showcase. Solution there, rely on being able to want to alternate. Pray mage and brew if you're not comfortable. And now we're going to heal up from the ranger to finish off. I really want to get some higher HP though. So when we start to get fairly low, we're going to start using the Phantom technique from far away to get a bit more out of it. Another dose of restore, Augury on, and I'm going to blood barrage. Okay, let's take a second here. I can put the Virtus top on. This ranger's going to come round, the rest is behind the pillar, so if I pray range, this guy will see me, but no one else will. And I can blood barrage anything that's attacking me, or like these guys on the ground. So even mid-wave I can heal up from this guy. Okay, we'll keep praying range and come around the pillar. And my solution here, okay, let's get some damage on the ranger. But I can always stand here and alternate. So let's get ready. I've done a bit of damage while thinking. Okay. So we go around the pillar. And alternate. Alternating is key. Hello, TJ. It is, bro. It's becoming a nightmare. Keep alternating. There's the attack. Now I can stop and flick him normally. And go around the pillar and kill the ranger. Blood Scepter is okay, but relying on it too much is going to slow down your runs, and it's only really good maybe post 50 where the waves get harder. You can bring Blood Scepter, but consider using it at later waves, not so early. Right, Mage Spray. One barrage, maybe click the ground to be sure, and it turns out standing still fully solves this wave. Some waves are just easy, some waves are hard. Why only 6 brews? I don't want to like really show people that they need to take tons and tons and tons of brew. I'd rather they have like tons of prayer bonus. Because with good solves like this and good practical sort of methods, instead of relying on brew, you can just set up waves and have a good time. It's also easier for me, so I can just purely camp it. I generally say like 6 brews. I usually say 5 brews is the minimum as a first caper, and you can add up to 3 to make it like 5 to 8 brews. and then you're fine. My stronger focus for these is really about the fact that with this kind of setup, with Devouts and Ring of the Gods, you have so much prayer bonus. Okay, when this Major dies, this Ranger is going to be released from the pillar. So I have two options, pray range, or move up here and corner trap it. This corner trap move is really useful. And again, we can we can attack it, and we can re-corner trap it if we want to. So using this trap wherever you can and getting used to using it is really good. Seeing learners starting with 6 and just dying seems counterproductive. Are they dying after using 6 brews? Or are they dying because they're not using brews? If you're dying after using 6, add more. But if you're dying and you're using 6 brews, you are making so many mistakes that you have to cut down on the mistakes. Because if I gave you 10 brews, you'll still die. So the focus should be about learning and trying to make the most out of your supplies, but not just like brute forcing with tons and tons of brews, but actually improving enough to be able to not worry about that. You're talking people fresh to the Inferno using my setup. Well, they need to start bringing more brews if they're dying to running out of brews, or learning stuff. Go to wave 4. Go to wave 4 and practice. Get good at alternating, that kind of stuff. I tell people pretty often, so I'm gonna corner trap the blob immediately. Just an instant thing to do. I want to be able to hit these nibblers. So what I can do is I can put on Augury, I can come all the way back, just pray range, and maybe Ice Barrage or Blood Barrage here. Now this is tricky. I'm gonna put on Rigor, and I'm gonna kill this blob. I can also play range, put a couple of blowpipe specs in here, take a step in, and I'm just gonna pray range the entire time, and I can hit the ranger from here. Making sure I do not want to get dragged down that way. And if I click this melee right now, I die. So let's take a step back, release it from the pillar, and attack it. Now we can go over here, as soon as the ranger attacks, pray mage, and begin. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll try and mention it more often, that if you're struggling on supplies, bring more broom. I'll just mention it at the start of these runs. I think I mentioned it in a few, and in the big description under the YouTube video, you'll find like all sorts of stuff I talk about, including adjusting your setup or like doing whatever you need to do, right? I was thinking about doing one of these with a BCP as well, because that would be quite good as well. Alright, we're on wave 56. I've got one full Bastion that I can use across the next few waves if I want to, but the first few waves without bats, and now the blobs are about to collapse, these are fairly easy waves. We're 89 HP. We want to start these on 99. So after we kill this guy, we're going to heal from him. $99 HP, that's fine. Pray mage for this guy because he's not frozen. Okay. This has got an interesting wave. Major, Ranger, and Melee. One Barrage. Let's go towards the Major. This is tricky. This is a really tricky one. You have to make a quick decision. And there's a Nibbler on the pillar. Okay, this is a tricky one. Now, I'm going to use Rigor here to just kill the Major ASAP. I'm going to use a Bastion dose to speed this up. And the problem is, what happens when the melee digs? I've got to find a solution. Honestly, I'm probably just going to kill the Major. I'm going to commit to killing the Major. And I'll use Brews if I have to, but the Bastion helps a lot during this. Now, there is a really fancy tile over here where I can attack the nibblers from. But now the melee's dug, I can just come back around. That's a tricky wave. That's about as hard as it gets. You're gate kept from all sides. Honestly, running to South Pillar is a solution for that wave, but you gotta tank the Ranger. You still have a Nibbler on North Pillar. So being able to play around North Pillar and choose the DPS solution there, still really nice. Just a tricky wave though. And the biggest problem is, if you're standing here, I'll tank this as well for a second. In fact, I'll heal up a bit. The biggest problem with that wave is if you're starting here, and you make a bad move, like you go over here for some reason, the major moves towards you into the pillar. And now you can't stand here, you have to stand back here. Which, unfortunately, no first cape is going to do. That's just a scuffed wave. Sometimes you'll get really tricky ones. You either have to DPS something like kill the melee and find a good spot, or use brews, tank, whatever you can do to survive. Those waves aren't obvious of what to do as a first caper, unfortunately. With 91 HP, that's okay for now. One barrage. Okay, and that's pretty melee, and I've tucked myself into the pillar so that nothing can really attack me. Let's kill this bat. And I can even come back to the Nibbler safe spot with Bofa and attack this guy to save my pillar even more. If I take a few steps up, right-clicking to not click on the melee, I can attack this guy as well. And now I want to let the melee wiggle out. So I'm going to move over here, right-clicking. And hopefully he's wiggled out. Good. Our pillar is now 50% HP. In general, in these runs, I do emphasize leaving the other pillars to die. So my pillars are going to be lower than your pillars, hopefully. But we will maybe go into like pillar save mode if we have to. Okay, wave 58. This is the first wave we have a pillar stack. This is the part where if you're struggling with pillar stacks or you get an unknown one, go and look at Exact's guide or the guide in We Do Raids. I can show you how to do this, but I can't show you all the stacks because I just don't get them in these runs. So the first thing to know about stacks is if you're not sure, test. Testing means starting in the middle of the pillar and choosing the right tile to go out to and seeing what happens. You can put on tank gear and you can move in and out like this. And you get a feel for what's going on. You get a feel for the timing. It attacks then. So I could extend this and do that, and I get the ranger flick. And I can make sure my timing is good. And this is how you test stacks. And this concept of testing is very important to make sure that you're not just getting 3 things attacking you at the same time. So for this stack in particular, what you can do with a major ranger is always click the back NPC, so in this case the major, and start praying against the back one. You then alternate. That's for any combination of these two. It looks a bit like this. It's respawning, doesn't matter. Respawning doesn't matter. If the melee comes around, I'll just go behind the pillar. Might tank a range shit, that's okay. Pretty range now. Maybe I can click the melee. I can even combine it by using the melee safe spot. Click the bat. You guys remember me showing this with the major? Well, you can do it with the ranger. You can do it with any NPC. So instead of running away, I can keep my DPS up, have a bit of fun with it again. And we're 94 HP, so we are literally just gonna get to 99 because there's no reason not to. Planning on showing a full run plus clips from other stacks? Not really. I'm not going to do a guide thing. I think the walkthroughs are more valuable. There are plenty of good guides. Right, 1 ice barrage. And let's go behind the pillar here, and I'm just going to choose to DPS the melee. I can use Bofa for this, I can use Blowpipe for this, I can get Blowpipe out, I can use Blowpipe spec, another one, and I'm getting ready to brew, Do I need to brew? No. But I was getting ready to. I dumped my pipe specs, I have Rigor on. Let's come back to the Nibbler safe spot. Try and barrage these guys. Okay, they're fine. And all we're doing is just like choosing a DPS solution. Wait for the major to attack, we can round the pillar. And now when the major gets closer, I can go and attack it. Sometimes the DPS solution is just better. It's simpler, it's better, you very, very rarely die. Now, if the melee hits you 45, 45, 45, unlucky, go next. But if you have your tank gear on, you have rigor on, I'm still Bastion, I've got defense and range up from the previous potion on the last few waves. I was ready to brew, really unlikely to die. And it might just be the simplest scenario. Okay, the majors respawn the melee. I'm now at a time rush to kill the major before the melee digs. Let's start using rigor. If you want to be really careful, use rigor the entire time. Don't let it get the chance to. Bit of a stuck thing happening here, so let's choose to kill the ranger instead. And when the melee digs, actually, I'll let it dig. If you are standing here or here, and the ranger and the melee digs, you can move here or here. So for this tile, go here. For this tile, go here, like so. You have to do it fairly quickly, otherwise you'll move down the pillar, but you get a free instant save spot. Doesn't matter what I kill her. Just gonna go to the bat save spot to save some pro. Bit of Bofa action over here. Gaming. And let's kill this guy and then go back round. I'm 97 HP. I will attempt to heal to 99 to be pedantic. 99 prayer, lovely. Tank gear on. And I can start thinking about Bastion again soon. Wave 60, it's wave 60 now. One barrage. Let's just pray melee here. Standing in on the pillar. And I'm going to use Rigor again. Just bursting down the melee. The ranger is released. Let's pray range. Bofa on. I can attack this guy to get dragged around the pillar. I can alternate immediately. Find a time to click the major, or just camp mage pray while you do it. If you can't get the clicks in while alternating, just click the major and pray mage, and then begin cycle again. Turn Rigor off for now. We're in a safe position. Melee's respawned. I can take a second while praying mage to set up the melee safe spot, so that I can go here if needed. And now I can alternate again. So we're sacrificing a bit of health to make sure the melee is not going to be a problem in the future. Keep alternating, keep alternating. The melee's going to get stuck. Let's click him and start flicking the blob as normal. Great. Let's go around the pillar, wait for the attack. And we have about 7 restores left. But we're approaching the end of the waves, so this is fine. 98 HP, we can heal off this guy or the blob, doesn't matter. He's in a nice set position again. These are the waves where it begins to get tricky. So sometimes here I would suggest maybe use a dose of brew, use a dose of restore, and use a bastion pot. So I'm now a bit above 99 HP, I've got my defense up, I've got my range up. And start these waves if you have excess prayer with Augury on. I'm gonna move back a bit here to just make sure I get the entire thing. I've gone to the Nibbler safe spot by default. I'm gonna corner trap this ranger if it comes around. And I'm gonna try and flick the blob. Okay, there's a nibbler on the pillar. I'm gonna pray range and go for the nibbler. And now I'm gonna kill the ranger to just make space. I'm gonna start alternating now. The melee is going to dig, and I'm just going to kill the melee. I'm going to commit to the ranger. Okay, now let's step out and pray melee, and I'm going to commit to the melee. I can do a melee flick, it looks like this. It's the same as alternating, except you go across all your prayers. And now I can alternate, wait for the blob attack, stop alternating, and get ready to go around the pillar. So I literally just DPS'd everything in that wave. And you'll notice the only action that I did was a bit weird, was to save my pillar for the purpose of the run, was moving back here early on. I moved this tile immediately, so that when the nibblers go to the pillar, if I'm standing here I get dragged out, but if I'm on the nibbler safe spot I can see them ahead of time. By standing here I can see them all the way into the pillar. That's the only action I did differently. The rest of that was just, okay, I understand I'm potted, I've got HP, let's kill everything we can do. The major is low enough that I'm going to kill the major. You could also kill the melee, it doesn't matter too much. I do want to heal though, 75 HP, but I've got a blob alive, so this is fine. Now I've got a timer running on my range stuff, so let's use another dose. And let's try and get through these waves quickly. But that wave was just a ton of damage output. Let's run back. One barrage, 2 barrage, and we're going to get 99. Let's go back to our start tile. Put tank gear on. Okay, let's tuck into the pillar. I'm going to attack this bat with Bofa from far away. Then I'm going to go to Nibbler safe spot. Attack this guy. The blob might see me, which is why it stopped moving. I'm going to come back into the pillar. Now I've got a blob to deal with. Okay, pillar's looking a bit low, so again, you might see me do some stuff to save the pillar, but don't worry about that. We're on 62, and there's only like 4 or 5 waves left. The sensible approach here is to let the melee dig, and kill the melee. And we'll assess this stack in a minute. Pray melee, wait for it to wiggle, right-click and kill. And now I want to figure out how I deal with this wave. So I look at it from like aerial view. If I go out on this side, they're both in line, not good. If I go out on this side, it's a major and a blob. I can test it by doing this, and then maybe flick the blob on the way back in. Okay, so it looks like these two are the ones that see me. Now I can go and deal with it properly. I can also just click the major. So we're just assessing, we're just testing. Not every pillar stack needs a guide. I need a plan for the melee when it digs. My idea is to go behind the pillar. Simple. Nibbler safe spot cannot allow you to kill the blob, no. The rule is, if the NPC can see you, you can see it. Conversely, if you can't see the NPC, it can't see you. So if the NPC is not attacking you, you can't attack it either. So in the case of the blob, if I was in Nibbler safe spot, it doesn't safe spot the blob. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. So all we've done is go back behind the pillar when the melee dug, which is what I said I'd do. So I had a plan, played it out, fine. But if I go back here, the blob can't see me. Otherwise it would be attacking me, which means I can't attack it either. I get dragged. You can do stuff like that to test. I'm gonna step out, make sure the major can see me, wait a cycle, and then continue. Okay. I'll let some stuff stack up a bit. Maybe I want to kill the ranger instead and leave the blob a bit later. That's fine. Doesn't matter what we kill here. As long as we're comfortable. This is wave 62. So next wave is considered one of the harder ones. Oh, I thought the wagtail was back, bro. I want to see the wagtail. If we have to, we can heal off these bats at the end, so not too worried here. Just gonna rigor and kill this, and I took a bit of damage, so I will in fact heal up here. Wave 63 is a really hard one for learners, so this is one of the waves I suggest using Brew, Restore, and just getting topped up with Bastion as well if you haven't done already. Okay. We're at 90 HP, I can heal off the bat, but let's just use a dose here and then another dose. I've got plenty. 2 doses, let's put my potions in a better space. Use a dose of Restore. Got my tick down timer there, so let's wait for it, and now we can go. So this is going to be a tricky wave, but one thing alternating should solve it. DPSing the melee is good. Let's see what we get. Let's corner trap the blob immediately. Okay. I'm going to go to Nibbler safe spot. And just kill this Nibbler. And then this guy as well. And I'm going to bow for the ranger, because I've dragged it in. And alternate. I'm nicely potted. Okay, let's alternate for the blob. I actually missed it, but okay. And now we can start flicking the blob. Let's move up here, where only the blob can see me. And I'm going to flick this blob while killing this melee. Not a very bad 63. So now I've got to deal with these guys. I'm going to go around the pillar. And I can do some fun stuff, like I can go and stand over here where both can see me. So I can prepare. I could just kill the blob, but you can do some fun stuff like this. Okay, ranger respawn. We run away from ranger respawns. This is dangerous. Now I'm actually going to kill the blob. If the ranger didn't respawn, not too much of a problem, but I don't know if it's on the same timing, so we just run. Let's get rid of this problem blob. Now we can start thinking about what to do. Proper gear on to finish up. Okay. So this side I deal with a blob and a ranger. This side I deal with both of them. Therefore I got to do something on this side. There are some other options like moving here and then back across. I think I've shown these in a couple of the other runs, but for the purpose of keeping this simple, I'm going to just kill this blob. Let's go back around the pillar, because the mage is about to slide into view. Okay, and now we have a pillar stack, except this is the reverse. We click the back NPC to drag us out, but at some point I want to click the major. So you can do something like this. Okay, great. Getting respawned on. We'll let the blob come down. We'll just kill this blob again, same as before. You don't really want blobs to respawn, they're just annoying. Want to be careful to not let this major come around the pillar. If it does start attacking you, brew and run. This is kind of annoying because it's frozen in place. So let's just get a Bofa out and click it. Oh, the major actually saw me there. Okay. The whole wave is respawning. Right. This is an alternation stack because you have a blob in the stack and it's like in a line. This blob does not exist while alternating, so I'll click the ranger, then click the major after doing one attack. So, out. And go. Just annoying, everything is respawning, but it's okay. You can also just kill the ranger, it's entirely fine. The ranger's been respawned, so if you kill it, it won't come back again. This is what I get for trying to kill the major first. Doesn't really matter how you like deal with stacks though, as long as you kill something. Okay, let's go back on pillar, let everything settle down. This is still an alternation stack. If the melee digs, I go behind the pillar. Yeah, bro actually respawned everything. One more attack. Go behind the pillar. Maybe pray mage for the blob. We got him. Okay. And our HP is fine, so let's just turn off prayer for a second. Flick up. 44 is next. I think for all the basic pillar stacks, clicking back works, but this is the part where you have to go visit the guide for the more specific stacks. This is about like how you solve waves and the thought process, as opposed to like stack stuff. Let's corner trap the major immediately, rigor on, melee pray, and DPS this guy. There's 2 on the pillar, but this is like one of the last waves, so this looks scary, but it's not. This guy is going to die pretty quickly. I can now pray mage, step out, this melee is stuck, and I can attack these guys to clear them off the pillar. Again, my pillars are going to be lower than yours, hopefully. Because I kind of let them go a bit further than they should do. Okay. I didn't set up the corner trap. Okay. Okay. I wanted to move over here, I think it misclicked badly. In short, we know that we can go from here to here and back here, so... Just gone out into the ranger. Gonna kill this guy off, and because this other melee also got respawned, I'm gonna kill it off as well. I'm gonna set up a safe spot by going over here. Again, we can use this tech. Preferably I want to kill the major, but this guy's gonna dig on me at some point. Okay, safe spot tech. Very good. Now let's go for this guy. He's gonna respawn everything again, I bet, but yeah. Please don't respawn anything. But at this point, we're through the hardest part, really. Okay, there's the respawn. The mage's nearly dead, no problem. Next wave can be a little bit scary if 2 rangers see you, but honestly, if you die to that wave, you just got very, very unlucky if it's on the first 2 hits. Again, if you have excess brew, you can brew here, you can restore here, you can bastion here. Just to increase the odds a little bit more. But good crystal armor plus augury should be fine. One barrage, click the ground, make sure you don't get dragged anywhere. Let's go to Nibbler, safe spot. They're all behind the pillar. Oh, I've got the stack. Okay. Great. This is the first time I get to show this during this run. There are 2 ways to deal with this. Option number 1 is known as a splash off tick. Okay, there are 3 ways to deal with this. Option 1, relog. You can just log out and log back in. The wave will be the same, but depending on how you stand and what you see, I think this wave actually will always stack up like this. This is just unlucky, okay? This is just unlucky. If you get this you're unfortunate. Relogging works quite well here, but probably not for this particular wave, the way it spawned. So there's a few options. And it's going to sound silly, but option 1 is to splash. You can do this by casting something on the major, and your mage accuracy is generally like bad enough that you're not going to hit it, and if you do, you just got very unlucky. And this offsets it. Provided it hasn't respawned anything so far, it will be splash off tickable. It looks something like this. Firstly, don't put any of your mage gear on. Make sure you have like the maximum negative. You pray range because the mage is going to be delayed, and then you hit the major. And this will mean the rangers hit me, then the mages hit me. Something like this. So that's terrifying as a first caper, but it's a way to do the wave. You can employ this in other places, but this is one very, very, very good place to do that. The second way to do this involves some magic, basically. And the reason for that is because, well, the entire stack is fucked. This is the hardest stack. And you can test your way through this, and there's like videos and there's GIFs and stuff in all the guides for it. But it involves you off-ticking the back NPC, and then the major, and then this guy. So to do this, we have to step out, and I don't know the exact tiles. I think it's at the very back. And what we do is I'll just test it to like prove. So we'll pray out, and if we go back here, only the back one sees me. Only the back one sees me, which means that one's off tick. Okay, so I have one off tick, and then I go back in, and then what I want to do is to go out, in, out, like that. Out, in, out. And that process would be range pray here, in, mage, out, and then range. And what that does is it sets the back one up first, you wait 3 ticks, and then you pray mage into range. So you set this guy first, then the major, and then the 2 rangers together. If you're testing this, firstly, brew, secondly, restore, thirdly, bastion, well, maybe not bastion while you're testing. Put your damn tank gear on, and try it out. Like, watch a guide. This is guide content at this point. It looks something like this. It's just magic, okay? That is called Z off-ticking, and it's not fun. So I recommend splashing, personally. But you can learn it, it's doable, it's consistent. That is the infamous Z off-tick. It is terrifying. As a first caper, splash it or log out. You can try it if you're confident, and it's fun, but don't expect yourself to survive. That's just like the one wave that I can't help you with. You just have to either be able to be confident to do it, watch a guide and do it, or splash it. Why does splashing work? Because we play a 20-year-old game. Logout only scuffs Zuck if you do it at Zuck. Doesn't scuff it at waves. Splashing is by far the better method. It's still awkward, but it will offset it by 2 ticks, which is really good. Now we have 2 mages, pray mage. Kind of fun I got to do that in one of these, but if you do it, just accept your fate, okay? Normally I'd be like, you can do it, just a bit of practice. That wave is just accept your fate. You have 3 methods. Log out, reset the wave. It'll be in the same position, but you might be able to control it differently. Option 2, splash off ticket, the best method. Option 3, Z off tick, the method we used before we knew about splash off tick. Very, very rare wave to get. Just very unlucky if you have that happen to you. Gonna show army? Yeah, we should start doing Zuck skips now. Hopefully that's piqued some interest into some of the more complex wave solves. You don't get to do stuff like that very often. Like, all this stuff is like level 1. That wave is like level 3. Out of like 10. Right, from here on out we have 4.5 restores. I will be camping my prayer, using brew when necessary. I'm still potted from previously, and I've got 113 HP. And now we're moving into Jad. For Jad, we just start somewhere over here, just by the wall. And we can start with Rigor and Range Prey on, and let's move over here. This is our tile for all of the Jads. All of the Jads we start here. So looking at it from this position, we start on the corner, then up one. And this is going to trap most of the healers by default. We can flick Rigor if you like, if you want to save the prayer and feel a bit more comfortable. But try and keep Rigor on as much as possible. When healers spawn, we can send a Blood Barrage out to the far ones, and just Bofa the remaining or blowpipe the close ones. And by standing on this tile, you're already safe from almost all healers except for one. If you're not safe from all the healers, take steps north or run north, and it will safe spot all but one. Let's use more restore. We want to stay really high prayer during Jads. The reason is, if you get low prayer, you have to flick to your inventory to get a prayer dose, and you don't want to do that. So we're going to stay as high as possible and take every opportunity to pot up. Keep your prayer book open all the time. Nice view on Jads. This guy's being quite humble to me. If I start taking damage, I can always use 2 doses of brew and then more restore. Both on single Jad and the last Jad of triples, you can run through Jad and lock the healers like you do for regular Jad sometimes. You can sometimes get lucky with a barrage, but I'm 97 HP. Come to the center of the room, pray range, and let's go to the correct tile. You have a few seconds to do that, and now we got to start praying. The same camera angle for all 3 Jads. I'm just making sure that we can attack the NPCs behind him. In a second, let's use a dose of restore, and then click Jad again. We're trying to stay topped up as much as possible. Okay, let's right-click a healer and pray. Let's pray and right-click a healer. Pray. And when you have a healer stuck behind you, you can run behind them north. The safe spot. If you can't get the runoff, that's okay. You'll just be attacked by one healer. That's not a problem. But if you can get the runoff, then you're scot-free. Now you're just flicking prayers. Okay. Now you can attack doing this, or you can just like run through Jads. You can run around them, you can run to wherever you want to. And choose a Jad. And we're going to start here or here. I like to start on this Jad. We want to keep them both in range, we want to keep them both in view. Keep our prayer book open, and we repeat the process. Same thing. I'm getting low on prayer. Okay. After this Jad attack, I'm going to make a note to use a prayer dose. I'm going to flick this next Jad, and then go for the barrage. And I got all 3 and they're stuck. Again, this is just another benefit of using this tile for starting. You're likely to get safe-spotted healers. You don't have to use it, but it helps. If you want to log out for Zuck, you can log out on the last triple Jad. Probably best too. Okay, we can start attacking this guy and making our way over. We're going to go to exactly the same tile. Obviously need to avoid the melees. The melees are deadly. Exactly the same as the first and second and third and fourth Jad. You want to be north, you want to be on this tile exactly. Healers are spawned, and again you can use a barrage to catch all 3 if they're in a good position, like this, by attacking the middle one. If you want to heal, now's a good time. Only one is attacking me here again. If you want to heal from this, you can do. To do that, wait for an attack, and then set them up, Come and pray melee. Still gotta flick the jab. Run back and forth once or twice, and then through jab. Keep praying melee, and then move away from him once you come out on the other side. And take a second here to heal. Make sure you flick the jab, make sure you're on autocast, and then click whichever one. If you're like super low, this is quite nice. If you're low on brew, it's quite nice. Not a big deal otherwise. There's 99. I'm happy with that. Let's go back on Dragon. More useful if you are really, really low. I'm going to take a second to reposition some of my potions as well, getting them all close to the left of my inventory, so they're close to the middle of my screen. If you have really, like, all over the place potions, take the time to set them up now. And of course, Rigor should be staying on now since I'm attacking. Okay. I'm 103 range, and I really want to use a dose here. We have Rigor on for the start of the kill. I might wait a second until the first set comes up, but we do want to get our damage on Zark. So we can use a Bastion dose almost immediately. We can get the one attack off. We can get a few attacks. We do one attack, Bastion. Let's get to the safe spot. Another attack and then run to the last safe spot. Shield has gone left. Last time I showcased the ability to just attack and get through and brute force with like 3 brews, 4 brews. This time I'm going to flick. We want to keep our damage up. Next safe spot. When Zuck attacks, you can move to the next one immediately. Following the shield only matters once you get to post healers, like properly following. So there's the attack. I can move straight to the next safe spot. And I can stam whenever I want to. There's the attack. I can get one in the middle and just keep moving. Can't go past the safe spot, but I can go in. So flicking is a really nice skill it sets, and it's not too hard to set up. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep attacking for it. There's the attack. Next safe spot. Put on Mage Spray. One more attack. And we're going to attack them in a row. So there's the Major, there's the Ranger. You might take a hit going to the corner. That's okay. And it's on a nice 2-tick cycle if you do that. This isn't a necessary thing for first capers, but if you spawn the shield going left, it's really nice to do. And if you really fuck it up, just pray Mage and kill the Ranger, dump 2 low pipe specs. You don't have to do that. So this DPS needs to get to 600. We need to get to 600 HP. If it's this slow, maybe you get another set. On average, you will get 2 sets as a first caper, sometimes 3. And this is typically because you're not attacking Zark off cooldown. There's the attack. So I'm missing a few ticks here and there, but I'm not missing a lot. At 5:99, timer pauses. So we're getting, like, decent damage. Need a bit more, really. Getting pretty close now. There's 599. Good. That's not bad. We are rigged the entire time. We are Bastion for most of it. So now we can kill the Major because the set time is paused. Just walking slowly along with it. Jad spawns at 479 or 480 if you like. We can attack this guy from the safe spot. If I attack him from this corner here, I'm going to die. So I can go back on Zuck and attack maybe Zuck once or twice. And now I go back on the Major. Just not wasting time, that's all. Want this guy dead. Another dose of Restore, maybe another dose of Stam. And at 480, I can just keep my prayer on right now as well. Range Spray is a bit of a better prayer to start on, but it doesn't really matter. As soon as Jad spawns, I gotta start damaging, gotta start DPSing. And then with a Bofa, I can attack him from both sides. When healers spawn, I can use Bofa to tag, or I can use Blood Barrage. And we've turned our camera to, like, just follow the shield. But to really look at Jad, we need to really, really look at Jad. There's the Zuck attack, so we can start moving. And now it's a race against the clock now. Go straight to next safe spot. There's healers, and I can't blood barrage this, I'll die. So I gotta wait a second for the Zuck attack. There's the Zuck attack. Now I can barrage. And I get dragged a bit, but that's okay. Don't rush it. Now back on Jad. Another dose of restore. There's the Zuck attack. The good camera work here pays off. And try and keep your prayer book open as much as possible. Okay, let's go back on Zuck. And I'm going to start brewing. 240 is the next milestone. I'm getting to 115 HP, using a dose of restore, and then a dose of bastion. And there's no point praying anything now. Don't use redemption unless you have literally no brews. Our brews are going to be used to stay high HP during healers. We never want to be below like 60 HP. If you see me get to 60, I'll either pipe spec, or I might use brews. There's 285. And we're getting fairly close to the Bofa max hits there, so it hits the corner, and I can try. It's 240. I'll try one more time. And this is good position. Position, you gotta be a bit careful. If you're quite far away, you can T-bow, you can Bofa. This, as it turns out, was great for healers. You can do 2 or 3 hits in the corner to try and proc it. And you can try and duck into the side momentarily and then back out. And now I have to follow this shield. I have to be exactly, like, perfectly within the shield. If you're not, you're gonna die. You can blowpipe spec here. Don't rush it, don't, like, attack them and, like, get dragged out. Another blowpipe spec on this guy. You can always right-click like this as well, which is really good. And I can duck into the corner again, briefly, and then back out. And now I've got to follow the shield, follow the shield, follow the shield. But I can still get my attacks off. If a set spawns, depending on where I am, I can just, like, tag one of them and tank the other. Like, I have enough brews to tank the ranger. Or I can just kill the ranger outright and then pray mage and tag the ranger. Right now I'm going to brew. Get to 115 again. Or 130 is okay. Another dose of bastion. Hopefully I have one left at the end of this. I'm just staying with the shield. Another dose of stam. Making sure to right-click Zuck and be very careful. And Zuck is getting pretty low now. So I could even just tag the major, and that might be enough, if it spawns at all. And I'm kind of just like blowpipe walking with the shield. You can do it. You can do this with the shield. And then when you get here, be careful. Don't, like, walk here. Remember, these tiles are dangerous. These tiles here are the dangerous ones. Everything else is, like, fine. But I think our DPS was good enough. We used Rigor a lot. We might get a set here, but doesn't matter. Let's tag the ranger, great range, and kill Zuck. When I come further across, I might tag the major. After one more hit here, I'll tag the major. Okay, I'll tag the major. And I'll pray mage, and I'll hit Zuck. If I get hit, I'll brew. This is just so close, though. If you're this close, just kill Zuck. You know, I've got 4 brews. I can run through all of my supplies and be okay. So, interesting run. Oh, I got 300 KC out of it too. Very nice. Wow. It's a bit awkward. One thing you might want to do is get a friend to do timers for you. Get a friend to do timers for you so they know what's going on. If in doubt, do a cycle and maybe try and damage the ranger as much as you can. If you know when it's going to spawn, you have a good idea of what you can do. I should probably do this for tier B. You can have a very good idea of what to do if you know the exact timing it's going to spawn. Otherwise, DPS option, do the same flicking pattern as before, tag one then the other. All that kind of stuff. That'll wrap up number 7. So hopefully useful. 3 more to go and then we'll do some top stuff. Right. Duos? Duos. We can either send the duos or send the hard mode top team. I don't mind either. We can start with some duos. You mind if we do hard mode trio CBA 5s? Yeah, 5s is a bit hit and miss because of the like the back and forth of it, I guess. People joining. I really like the 5s if you have a big team for it, but let me relog as well. I'm getting like close to 6 hour. I don't have an account to do one defense cape, so I can't really do it. I'm not going to do it on someone else's, of course, so. Justy is like somewhere else. It's down here now. But this is just like interesting to have up here as well. These 3 sets are actually useful. Justy's not. You'll get Bodhi dig up. You can ask him. He's interested. I'll gear up for the duos though and take a quick break. Is this Learner Top? No, this is Elite Mode Top. This is the opposite of Learner Top now. I've done my penance for the day. No more. Yeah, so all the Inferno runs are uploaded to YouTube.